I recently got my hands on the new Canon RF 135mm f1.8. Now I know you're thinking, we've actually done a video about this already. We did a first look, but that was a beta sample that we couldn't actually publish any photos with, whereas now we've had a full shooting sample. So that's a full shooting review sample that we had for a couple of days, which I paired up with the R6 Mark II. And let me tell you, just straight off the bat, just in case you want to get the end conclusion result, this is just an absolutely outstanding lens. This is so nice to shoot with. Yes, it's a great portrait lens, but actually it is so good at all kinds of different things. It's actually remarkable. Now, I expected that because it's following on from a pretty well-respected EF lens, the EF 135 f2. Now that is a lens that, this one has a lot to live up to. That EF lens was kind of a bit of a legendary lens. And this one certainly feels like it's living up to it. It feels like a great successor. There's a lot to like about it, but let's start off by talking about image quality. Now, the image quality here is it's just outstanding. It's exactly what you'd expect from an L lens from Canon, but 135 really gives you a really lovely focal range to play with. First of all, for portraits, it is fantastic for separation between subject and background, but for all kinds of things, that lens compression really adds a lot to images. They can just look fantastic. Whether you're doing landscape, whether you're doing portrait, whether you're kind of doing street photography, there's a huge amount that you can do with a lens like this. So not just portrait. And of course, paired up with the R6 II, the colors just look outstanding. It's so sharp. It is so good. And that's not just in the center, that extends right out to the edges. And then that bokeh, the depth of field, looks fantastic. Now, I know I'm gushing a little bit here. I know that I'm really, but honestly, this lens is one of those ones that just instantly impresses. It looks fantastic. That's straight out of camera. Of course, this is a modern lens, so it definitely comes with all of the trimmings you would expect from a lens coming out now. So for example, we have optical image stabilization in the lens. That's up to 5 stops. That's great for this kind of focal length. That means that you don't have to use a fast shutter speed to make sure that you're getting rid of any kind of shake that you might have. That image stabilization is going to take care of a lot of that. And then of course, that also means for video shooting, because this would give you some really cinematic looking footage, that's going to be great for a more handheld approach. And of course, if you are pairing it with something like the R6 II or the R5 or something like that, you can have an extremely stabilized end result. Really, really good for all that kind of stuff. Of course, low light is going to work really well with the f1.8 aperture as well, but being able to use image stabilization just improves that even further. Autofocus, of course, is a big deal, and here this is just not even a problem at all. We've got 2 nano USM motors. They're incredibly fast, and they are basically silent. I never heard anything at all, and they just work really, really well. So whether you're using IAF, whether you're using, a touch point on the screen of your camera, whatever you're doing, it's just very, very quick. And in terms of tracking, which is something that I was trying quite a bit using this lens and the R6 II, no issues, just no issues at all. That's, if I was to be honest with you, that would basically be the headline of this. Loved it, and I just never had an issue with anything. I actually went through all of the photos that I took just before filming this so that I could just sort of refresh my mind on exactly how it all looked. I never missed once with the autofocus. So any photo that I don't use in this video is purely because I either had a better one of the same shot or I personally messed up the composition slightly. The lens itself is of course part of the L series of lenses, and as such it comes with things that you would expect from a lens like that. The build quality is one of them. It's a really, really solid build, and you've got nice things on the lens. Of course, you've got the control ring where you can set that to control different things. So you could have that as an aperture ring, you could do it for ISO, whatever's going to work best for you. And then 2 custom function buttons as well, which means that you've got quite a lot of control there on the lens itself. I can honestly see this being an extremely popular choice for wedding photographers, event photographers, because of course you've got a nice bright aperture. The image quality is fantastic. You've got a nice bit of reach there. There's just a lot to like for that kind of shooting, but also, portraits, whether it's headshots or, out and about, even stuff like landscape and all kinds of stuff. It's a much more versatile lens than you might initially think, being a bit of a longer focal length. And it just honestly looks fantastic. I don't have any negatives at all. I wish I had one. I guess that would be my only negative, is I wish I had one of these lenses. But otherwise, this is just one of those wonderful, wonderful lenses I feel like a fanboy. I'm not, I'm really not. I'm really trying to think of anything bad to say about it. But honestly, what an absolutely brilliant time I've had shooting with this and the R6 II as well. Now, of course, you can check out the lens for yourself. If all of that wasn't enough, you can go check out the specs for yourself by following the link down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, because there's loads of new videos all the time. We have a new video every day up to Christmas Eve if you're watching this when this video comes out. Otherwise, they're all there to go and watch, so head on over to the channel. I will see you in the next video, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.